Step number 19 is going to make us feel like we're getting something done here. Fairly simple steps. We're going to install the front hubs onto the A-arms. And it's pretty straightforward. There's really not much to it. The screws that we're going to use, there's a long one and a short one. And the long one is going to go on the bottom and the short one on the top. Is that right? 45 millimeter on the bottom and 40 on the top, yes. So the short one goes on the top and the long one goes on the bottom. We've also got a cone and a flanged nut, one for each side. As we put the hub on, we're going to want to make sure that the bottom, of course, goes to the bottom, the top goes to the top, and that the steering bracket with the ball goes towards the back. Make sure you get them on the proper side. Actually, that goes underneath like that. So, the first thing we're going to do is grab one of the hubs. You decide which side you want to start on. We're going to put a bolt partially up in there, slide the A-arm through over the top of the bottom portion of the hub. And now comes the tough part. I hate these little things. We have to put a spacer in, which is this little cone spacer. And you're going to want to put that in with the smaller part towards the bottom, and that rests on top of the ball. And it should just slide right in there. Let's see if we can get a close-up here. And it just rides on top of the ball. Then we're going to push the screw through until it comes up through the top. You back that screw and push it down just a little bit. Now we're going to grab our handy dandy multi-tool and take our flanged nut and go ahead and put it in there. And we're going to put that flanged nut inside and tighten it down. Sorry I can't do this on camera because it's at a weird angle and everything has to be held in, but I'll show you here as soon as I'm done. Here. Tighten that up. Get you a picture of it here. You can see the spacer and how that all goes together, and it should move freely. Now we're going to hook up the top bolt, which is the shorter one. Going to come through the top of the ball on the upper A-arm, drop it down into the hole, and screw it in. And it needs to capture that nut in the nut holder. So if it's not going in, you may have to adjust that back or forth. And we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. So now we have the hub connected to the A-arm. Starting to look like a front end of a car here. And there should be no binding. I had a customer come in just the other day that was having binding issues. And what he did was he put this cone underneath instead of on top. And it is an easy mistake to make if you're not paying close attention or watching the video. We're going to go ahead and repeat this process on the second side off camera, and then we'll get started digging into a new bag and starting on a new part of the car. Step number 20 is going to be opening up your small parts bag B. And I've opened that up and dumped it into my little parts tray that I keep on my workbench here. And from there we've gone ahead and opened up one of the bags that had all the nuts in there, and also this little piece was located in the small parts bag. This is the steering wiper assembly that we're working on now. The directions here are telling us to use part number 85 it's too far away here, 85460-1 and 2. However, the directions I believe are wrong because I found them on this tree here, which is tree number 85414. So if you're looking for that part and you can't find it, that's where it's going to be. This next step is pretty straightforward. It's basically just installing nuts. And the nuts are smaller than the tool, so there is no nut install tool for these. And some of them are easy to get in, and some of them are not. For some reason, that one doesn't want to go in. Okay, we'll start over here. There's two different wiper blades. One is longer and one is shorter. On the bottom of this one, we're going to put 3 nuts. And without that tool, sometimes they're a pain in the rump to get in. Not wanting to go in. Looks like we're going to have to help them along here. You want to be careful if you're doing that not to damage this little hump if you're using a pair of pliers to get those in. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3 on the bottom here. That one went right in. And that one went right in. So we have 3 in the bottom here. We'll have 2 into this one. They push in, takes a little pressure. It's better that they're tight rather than falling out on you. If it doesn't quite go in all the way, just press it on your bench or just use a little pair of pliers to help get them in the rest of the way. And then the last one is going to go into there. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and move along to step number 22. Just want to show you a little trick here. On my particular unit, the small nut that goes in here is loose and it's going to fall out. And by experience, I know that this part goes in like so, and it's very, very difficult in the location to get this nut back in if it falls out. So until we use this part, I'm just very simply going to place a piece of tape over it, and then that way the nut stays in place. So if you're wondering what this funny color red is as we're building, it's just a piece of tape holding my nut in. Step number 22 brings us to building the Servo Saver. It's pretty simple, just procedural. We're going to follow it as we go along. All the pieces are laid out and ready to go. One of the things that I like to do whenever I have a new compression spring in a kit is I like to pre-compress it. And basically what that's doing is just making sure that once you tighten it down that it's going to stay tight, and because kind of break the spring in a little bit. Not necessary, but I like to do that. As we build the Servo Saver, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to go onto the back of this piece here. You can see the little groove that's in there, or actually the little point that's on there. And that little point is going to set into this point. And the spring is going to hold it down so that it gives you the Servo Saver action. So what we're going to do at this point is to build the spring assembly. Let's go ahead and set this over. We're going to start off with the screw. Then we're going to place the little metal piece, which is 102-165 something. Looks like a 3 or an 8 from here. It's hard to say. But it's this little piece right here. And it is aluminum. Come on, focus in. There we go. Looks like a little top hat. And we're going to face that with the recess, and then we're going to drop the bolt in so that it lies flush on the top. From there, we're going to put on one washer so it rides over just like this. You can see it right here. Then we're going to slide our spring on top. Then we're going to put one more washer on like so. Let's go ahead and grab this unit here, and you can see that there's an indentation in there, a little well, and on the other side is a V shape. So we're just going to stick this down inside, make sure that that washer drops all the way down in. You can see how the nut sticks out, or the bolt sticks out the bottom. We're going to align that up on this unit here and go ahead and screw it in. As we're screwing it in, you might have to press down in order for the screw to catch the nut. And then as you do that, you can see the spring start to compress and the bolt comes out the bottom. We're going to compress that to what the directions is calling 13 millimeters. And it's pretty cool. There's a spot right on the direction where you can line it up and you can check your depth. We're going to go just a little bit more. And we're all set. You can play around with the Servo Saver function and see how it works. It's pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and set out all of our pieces for the next step, which is step number 23, and get going on that. Addition, step 22. Now that we have the Servo Saver on, we're going to put our ball studs in. And there's one for each one of the wipers, and they are going to go in from the top onto the very ends. So they're very simply just going to screw in. You can see the hole that it goes in. We'll get out our wrench and tighten them down. We'll repeat that process on the other side. And again, goes right into the end hole. Now that these are installed, we're going to go ahead and put the bearings in. If you're using the stock bearings, grab those. If you're using the Team FastEddy bearings, they are going to be the 4 of the smaller bearings that are located in the kit. Very simple to install. They're going to go right into the top holes here. And this should be a simple press fit. Go one on the top and one on the bottom. Looks like I forgot to shave a little piece of tree spar off here. Make that nicer. There we go. Then we're going to go ahead and repeat the process on the other side, just pressing the bearings in. From here, we're going to go ahead and lay out all of our pieces and parts and proceed to step number 23.